What's up everybody, I'm HoopsandHipHop. So back during E3, we were actually introduced to a couple brand new Pokemon that are set to debut in Pokemon Sword and Shield. One of them being the mischievous imp-like Pokemon Impidimp. Now, other than being kind of interesting to say the least in terms of its design, the other very notable thing about this Pokemon is the fact that it has a Dark Fairy typing, which is not only an unused typing prior to this Pokemon's debut, but it's also one of the unused typings that fans have really wanted to see for a long time now. So with the introduction of Impidimp into these games, it offers the potential for even more unused type combinations to also make their debut in this generation. And that is exactly why in today's video we are going to be talking about my top 5 unused Pokemon type combinations for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, talking about unused type combinations is always a lot of fun because they also represent the potential of so many amazing Pokemon that we could see with their introduction. And this list is going to be a combination of a couple of different factors. First off, I'm going to be talking about type combinations that I personally want to see, but then I'm also going to be talking about type combinations that I believe are a good fit for the Galar region and are more likely to appear in these specific games. So overall, this list is a combination of types I want to see and types that I think are most likely to get introduced. We've got a lot of fascinating possibilities to talk about here today, so without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. These are my top 5 unused type combinations for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, beginning the list for us at number 5 is the Rock Ghost type, and I have chosen this specific type for several different reasons. Number 1, it seems like we should already have a Rock Ghost at this point. I'm honestly surprised that this is a type that hasn't been used yet, so I feel like it's overdue for an inclusion in a Pokemon game. On top of that, the types of Rock and Ghost, both individually and together, kind of symbolize a theme of antiquity, if you will, that I personally believe would fit really well in the Galar region, as the Galar region is based on the UK, and the UK has an extensively rich history that dates back hundreds and even thousands of years. So while admittedly this isn't necessarily a type I am dying to see personally, I do believe it is a perfect fit for the setting of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and that is why I have included it on the list. Making its way into the number 4 spot, we have the Electric Fighting type, and similar to the Rock Ghost type, this is another type combination that I personally believe should have been introduced 2 or 3 generations ago. It's honestly the kind of type combination that seems like it's been around for a while, and when you realize there isn't a single Pokemon out of the over 800 that have this typing, it's honestly a bit of a shock. So just like the Rock Ghost typing, I believe Electric Fighting is long overdue to be introduced into the Pokemon franchise. In terms of the competitive scene, Electric Fighting is a pretty solid type combination because even though it has 3 weaknesses, it counters that with 5 resistances, so overall it can definitely hold its own in battle, and overall I think that combination of types just really offers an insane amount of potential for a really cool looking Pokemon design. So all things considered, I really don't think there's any reason to hold this type combination back anymore, and I think it absolutely needs to make its grand debut within Generation 8. Now, in the middle of the list at number 3 is the unused type combination that is probably the most requested one to appear by the community at large, and that would be the Bug Dragon typing. Ever since Generation 3, when Flygon was introduced and we all wondered why it wasn't a Bug Dragon typing, and then even more so in Generation 6 when Mega Flygon was considered and then cut, who also very well could have been Bug Dragon, this has been a type that fans have been desperately wanting to see, and I think it's finally time to make it a reality in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Due to the UK setting of these games, I think it's fair to say that we probably will see a pretty good amount of Dragon-type Pokemon introduced into the Pokédex for these games, and I think that offers a strong opportunity for the Bug Dragon type to finally make its debut into the franchise. And outside of the whole Flygon debacle, this typing offers a lot of potential for a really cool looking Pokemon. There was even a fake leak for a Bug Dragon type Pokemon within these games that appeared on the internet shortly after the game's reveal, once again showing just how badly people want to see this type debuted into the games. Competitive-wise, it is pretty solid as it has 5 weaknesses but also 5 resistances, and obviously you can't go wrong competitively speaking with that dragon typing. But even more than that, I think people just want to see the Bug Dragon type introduced into Pokemon just to have it into the game for the potential that it has, and because we're kinda salty that Flygon and Mega Flygon didn't receive this typing as well. So I think we've waited long enough on this one, and I think it's finally time for the wait to be over with this type combination in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Coming in at the runner-up spot at number 2 is an unused typing that I believe is just straight up one of the coolest for being cool unused type combinations that we have, and that would be the Fire Fairy type. Now, the interesting thing about this type combination is that it could honestly go one of 2 ways. It could absolutely produce a really cute looking Pokemon with that fairy type, but then it could also produce an insanely cool, just super awesome Pokemon with that fire type. And I believe the combination of the two provides a best of both worlds situation where you could overall just have a really beautiful looking Pokemon that also looks really tough and insanely cool at the same time. Also, similar to reasons that I stated about the Bug Dragon type, given the UK setting of Pokemon Sword and Shield, I think it's also fairly likely that we will get a good amount of Fairy type Pokemon, given that it just seems like the UK and the Fairy type, they just go well together, so I think we will definitely see a good amount of Fairy type Pokemon in this game, making it at least somewhat reasonable that we could see the Fire Fairy type combination as well. This type is also a really good type in battle because even though it does have 4 weaknesses, it has a whopping 7 resistances, with one of those being a double resistance, and it also has an immunity to dragon. So overall, this is a Pokemon that could easily take some hits. It's definitely something that could do damage in competitive, and because it could produce a uniquely beautiful yet tough and cool looking Pokemon all at the same time, it's a type combination that I am dying to see in Sword and Shield, and I think it is also a really good fit for these games as well, which is why I want to see it make its debut in these games. And finally, at the number 1 spot, the type combination that I want to see introduced into Sword and Shield the absolute most is one I've actually talked about several times in other videos, and that would be the normal Ghost type. Now, I have been obsessed with the idea of this type combination ever since the pre-release days of Pokemon Sun and Moon. The reason why I like the idea of this type combination so much is because it's kind of an opposites attract sort of type, where both normal and Ghost are immune to each other when competing against each other, so bringing them together just brings about a whole new slew of amazing possibilities. And speaking of those possibilities, this type combination would actually be extremely good in battle, because not only does it have only 1 weakness in the Dark type, it also has 2 resistances and a whopping 3 immunities to Ghost, Fighting, and Normal. So a Pokemon with this typing definitely has the potential to cause a lot of problems for its opponents, and it also has the potential to just be a really cool looking Pokemon in general. In past videos, I've talked about the idea of a normal Ghost type being based on a bedsheet ghost, because that is obviously what a normal ghost is perceived to be by society. But there are also a bunch of different ways you could take this type combination, and I just think it offers so many amazing possibilities for amazing designs, and personally that's what I really look forward to the most with any of these type combinations. I also do think it's a really good fit for the Galar region and Pokemon Sword and Shield, so if we get any other unused type combinations in these games outside of Impidimp's Dark Fairy type, Normal Ghost is absolutely 100% the one I want to see more than anything, so please Game Freak, make it happen. And there we have it, everybody. Now, to be honest with you, there are actually a lot of really cool unused type combinations, even outside of the 5 that I just picked. I unfortunately had to leave really cool ones off this list, like Electric Dark or Fire Ice, for instance, just for the simple fact that I was just wanting to go with ones that I personally liked and ones I thought were a good fit for this game. So these 5 are the ones I ultimately decided were the best, but I also really want to know what you guys think and what 5 you want to see in these games, so definitely leave that in the comments below, and be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it as well, because it really helps out. Also, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, because we are literally less than 2,000 subscribers away from 100k. Guys, my mind is blown. I think I'm gonna cry when we hit that number, to be honest with you. And I also have a really cool 100k special type of project to show you when we hit that number, so the sooner we can get there, the better, and the sooner I can show that project to you, and I'm just so excited. And once again, thank you all so much for your support from the bottom of my heart. If you'd like to support the channel even more though, you can do so in a couple different ways, by either checking me out on Spotify and listening to my Pokemon remixes there, or you can check out my Pokemon podcast over on the UCast Studios YouTube channel. Listening to either of those helped me out a ton, and it directly supports the channel here and the production of videos, so if you consider or decide to do that at all, it is extremely appreciated. So with that being said, I will be back with another video on Tuesday, so be sure to hit that notification bell so you can be notified just as soon as it goes live. And until then, as always, I hope you guys know I love you very much, and I will smell you guys later.